Okay, let's get into this. Today, we're doing a deep dive into some really resonant source material that was shared with us.
Right. These are excerpts from Sheikh Nurjan Miramati.
And the focus is something I think many of us can connect with, that search for love.
Yeah, specifically why we often look for it outside of ourselves.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm. And what that does to our relationships, marriage, for example.
Exactly. If you've ever been in that spot, like wishing someone close would just act differently.
Or just wondering why relationships can sometimes feel, well, so difficult.
Then this is definitely for you. We're exploring this idea from the source that maybe we're seeking love in, what it calls all the wrong places and all the wrong faces.
It's quite a striking phrase.
It is. And what really jumps out is how the source ties this external searching to a feeling of like fundamental incompleteness inside.
Okay, so it's suggesting the real need for love is actually spiritual, divine even.
Precisely. And because maybe we're not connecting enough with that ultimate source, with Allah Almighty, and through guidance with Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him.
We get sort of misled. We look elsewhere.
Yeah, we're basically trying to fill this huge divine-sized space with, well, human connection, which can't really work, can it?
Right. It's like expecting a single cup of water to fill an ocean.
That's a great way to put it. The source even mentions things like popular songs, about looking for love in all the wrong places.
Mm-hmm.
And suggests that maybe in a twisted way, that idea keeps us looking outward instead of turning inward towards Allah Almighty and Prophet Muhammad. Peace and blessing be upon him.
So we bring this deep, unmet spiritual hunger into our relationship.
That seems to be the idea. We show up with this profound need already there.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. And the source then explains how this manifests, this unmet need.
It does. It says we start trying to, fashion each other, manipulate, demand love in very specific ways.
That feeling of, you must love me this way, or you have to meet my needs exactly like this.
Exactly that. The source really frames this as coming from a heart that's kind of void of its true, necessary connection. That love for Allah Almighty and Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him.
So when you're genuinely filled with that divine love,
then other loves, human loves, don't carry that same almost desperate, grasping quality. The need isn't quite so intense.
Okay. So if we are bringing this deep hunger and we're demanding others fill it, what happens when they inevitably can't? What does the source say about trying to change them then?
This is where it gets incredibly direct. Really quite challenging, actually.
How so?
It states it plainly.
Yeah.
You cannot change another person.
You just can't.
Nope. Try to force someone else to be different. The source likens it to hitting your head against a solid wall.
Wow, okay.
And it even brings in a really powerful ancient saying, a hadith actually, which says that moving a mountain from its place is easier than moving the heart of a person.
Moving a mountain. That really puts it into perspective, doesn't it? The sheer scale of what we're often trying to do.
It really does.
So this attempt, this impossible task of trying to change someone else, the source is saying that's where a lot of the conflict comes from.
Exactly that. This is why, according to the source, we see so many difficulties, so many struggles in relationships. It even suggests that this very attempt to change the other person is maybe the primary underlying reason for divorce in so many marriages.
Because people go in thinking they can, or maybe even should, mold the other person.
Right. When the fundamental reality presented here is the only person you actually have the power to change is yourself.
Okay. So if trying to change the other person is both pointless and causes conflict, what's the alternative? What path does the source suggest?
It suggests a pretty radical shift in energy. Focus entirely on yourself.
Just inward.
Completely.
Yeah.
Instead of pouring all that effort into trying to fix the other person or the external situation, turn that intensity inward. The source mentions a saying where Allah Almighty states, He doesn't change the condition of a people until they change what is within themselves.
So the frustration we feel, that urge to fix the other person, according to this perspective, that should actually be a signal, a prompt to look inside.
Precisely. To find and address our own stuff, our own imperfections, maybe what the source would call our own spiritual sickness or faults.
It's about examining yourself, finding your own shortcomings.
Yes, and being guided towards your own internal solutions. And here's the really powerful promise embedded in this.
What's that?
When you genuinely change yourself, your inner state, the source says Allah Almighty then changes the entire external condition around you. That includes your relationships.
So recapping the core insight here.
Well, it seems to be that our deepest search for love is fundamentally spiritual. It's meant to be filled by connecting with Allah Almighty and Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him.
And when that connection is strong, that desperate need from others, it lessens.
Right. And crucially, you cannot change another person. Trying is futile, creates conflict.
So the path forward is this radical self-focus, work on your inner state.
And the promise is that the outer world, including relationships, will transform as a result.
It really leaves you with a powerful thought, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
What if those intense frustrations you feel in your relationships, what if they aren't really about the other person needing to be fixed at all?
But maybe they're more like a mirror, a divinely set up mirror, reflecting exactly where you are being called to change deep within yourself.
Something definitely to think about.